Okay, so welcome to episode 4 of the Record Collectors Club Conversations podcast. This week I'm joined by Ben and Alex from the band The Moonlight Parade. Moonlight Parade are a 5-piece band from the south coast of the UK, and they play indie-influenced music since 2018. Just released their 4th album, Strange Times, and the band are growing from strength to strength with every album. I've got a few of them, listened to them all. Superb band. They've got a pretty obsessive fan base as well, kind of evolving as well. So, so welcome to the podcast, Ben and Alex.
Hello.
All right.
You both all right? Well?
Yeah,
good, thank you.
Excellent. Okay. So the Moonlight Parade, how long have the band been kind of going?
6 years now, I think. We formed in 2018, which was a bit of a chance meeting between me and Steve, the guitarist. We were in bands a long time ago. We've all kind of known each other a very long time. We settled down to have families, and I bumped into Steve, who I probably hadn't seen in a long, long time. I think I bumped into him walking along the beach, and he said, "Oh, we both got kids. Oh, does your kid want to come to my kid's birthday party?" And it'd be an excuse for us to sort of catch up and kind of reconnect.
Yeah.
And we just got chatting. I said, "Oh, I've got a bass gathering dust in the corner. How do you feel about coming round and just seeing if we can get something going? Just for a giggle, because I hadn't made any music in years." And one thing led to another, and we sent Ben a load of demos. Really, we thought, who do we know who can sing? Who's still around? And Ben was the first person who came to mind. And luckily for us, he said, he was interested, because Ben hadn't made any music as far as I was aware for a long, long time. So it was all just a bit of fate, I suppose, kind of brought us together.
Okay. And you're based on the south coast. Is that where you all kind of still live in that local area?
Well, Alex and Steve are down in Worthing, and I'm near Brighton, a place called Haywards Heath, which is just on the main train line from London to Brighton. But originally we all I met Alex years ago in Brighton, so we were sort of in bands around there. But now we would call ourselves Worthing because 2 of the lads are from there, and we also practice there and do quite a few gigs there and things like that.
Okay, cool. So then the band's name, the Moonlight Parade, where's that come from?
So there's a road round here called Marine Parade.
Okay.
It's a big strip that goes all the way along the seafront. And we thought, maybe that's too obvious. That's kind of where it started from. And then Moonlight crept in. Maybe a Doors influence there. I can't remember. I mean, names is a funny one, isn't it? I always struggle with band names. Every band I've ever been in, I've always second guessed the name immediately. I'm like, there must be something better. But when you look at band names, sometimes, like Echo and the Bunnymen, for instance, the word Bunnymen. Yeah. I mean, if that had never been done before, and somebody was calling themselves Bunnymen, you'd think that was a bit naff, maybe. But because of who they are and what they've done, all of a sudden it's not naff anymore, is it?
Yeah.
So hopefully we can make our names sound good. I don't know.
Well, it's like Oasis, isn't it? I mean, it's a great name now, isn't it? But would it have been years ago? When you first come out with it, I don't know if I'd have gone with it. But
I think you got to make your name kind of acceptable to people.
That's a good point. Yeah. Okay, then. So in terms of so starting to talk about the musical side of it, then, what kind of influences do you all kind of have? Are they all equally shared when you kind of first kind of started getting together and playing music, or has each band member kind of brought something slightly different to the table?
It's weird, isn't it? Because whatever we put together always comes out in this Moonlight Parade sound, and it's almost outside of us in a way. It's obviously all of our musical influences and things all put into a melting pot, and that's how it comes out. So it's quite weird, isn't it? Really, and we sort of had our sound straight away,
Okay.
which we got complimented for, but we couldn't tell you how we've done that. We've just play the music we like and record what we like and add it as we go along. But yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? What sort of sound is it? We get told it's a bit like the Echo and the Bunnymen type influence, but I mean, I'd never listened to them really, apart from the obvious singles that I've heard over the years. So
I think a lot of our tastes overlap, but also we're all into different things as well. I know I'm a record collector, and I sort of started off in the indie. Indie was everything to me growing up, and then I veered off, sort of getting into more 60s and 70s stuff that took me down more of a soul route, funk. And recently, for the last 10 years, I've been listening to sort of world music a lot more, a lot of the kind of Analog Africa and Mr. Bongo compilations and stuff like that. And just fight, I think your tastes evolve as you get older as well.
Yeah.
So, but amongst us, we're kind of into everything from A to Z. Do you know what I mean? There's an awful lot of stuff there that we like. But when we come together, I don't know what we do, but, we do our bits and it sounds like what it sounds like. But we have been told we've got our own sound, which I think is a good thing. Hopefully we sort of stand out a little bit because of that, or I don't know.
So is that sound that you're talking about then, and you say it kind of came together? Like, I know it's hard to kind of ask why or how, but how did it come together? Like, was it almost instant from the first time you sort of like playing music together, or did it take a little bit of honing? Or
I don't know. I think we just play in a certain way. Steve's got a very jangly way of playing the guitar, and he always has. I was in a band with him in the 90s called we were called Leroy, another weird name. But Steve and we were essentially a punk band. We were influenced by like the Clash, and some of the guys were influenced by bands like Deftones and Tool. Yeah. So, and that's kind of even then when we're heavy, he was a really melodic guitar player. He reminded me more of Johnny Marr. And I've always been influenced by like Manny from the Roses and a lot of funk and soul guys.
Yeah.
And so whenever we get together, there's melody. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully. And I think Ben likes a melody. So when we sent the stuff to him, it kind of fitted in. Ben's band back in the day, they were very melodic as well. You can sort of see an influence of the Stone Roses and the Beatles and, the Byrds even, a lot of that sort of stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, we liked that we like the harmony and melody and to use, it's quite traditional form of songwriting, really, I would say. But we tend to write in sort of different ways. Like the early demos would come from Alex and Steve, and then I would sort of, put a top line on, if you like. And then sometimes they can come directly from Alex but even those roots they still end up sounding like Moonlight Parade. Which is, you can't put your finger on that. I suppose the easiest answer is to say it's because I'm singing, but then on Strange Times, Alex sings a couple of songs and they don't stand out differently. It's a bit like, when you listen to bands like Doves. Then it's only when you really analyse it, you think, oh, that was a different singer on that track, or that was a different singer on that track. So it's a weird one, isn't it, to pin down, really? But we'll go with it, however it's happened.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned in the introduction, fourth album just come out. You've had a few EPs as well. Is your first couple of albums, were they all? They were successful, weren't they? Or they seem to kind of like draw. I mean, put it this way: I can't get a vinyl copy of the first album anywhere. I'm late to knowing you guys in terms of music wise and things. So obviously they were popular originally, weren't you? Like going from the first couple of records, I assume.
Yeah, it was a surprise to us really because the first album obviously was, and it's never really changed. It's just mates making music.
Yeah.
We were really surprised that anybody paid us much attention with the first one, and the fact they did almost started like a ball rolling. Even though it's been really slow, by no means are we like a big band, but we've kind of very slowly built up this following because we were lucky enough people engaged with us on the first record. And we've slowly, we keep on adding to our following, I suppose. People are actually starting to listen. And if you discover us for the first time, there's a lot of music to kind of go back and have a look at if you want to, which is great. It's nice to think that maybe we had a few hundred listening back in 2018 when the first thing came out. And now, maybe there's a few thousand listening to it now. So it's a nice way of building things up. I hate to use the word, but organically, do you know what I mean? My wife will tell me off for using that word. She hates that, organically. But that's what it's organic.
But that first album was crowdfunded by sort of Twitter community that is really our core sort of fan base, and a lot of them are still there from that very first few weeks of us sort of putting out a record. So they followed and supported us all the way through, including coming to see us in when we played live in Manchester or around the country. And they're dedicated new music followers, really, and they don't just follow us, they follow a lot of different bands. So and that's given us, it gives you a real impetus to want to do more, and because you've got some people that are going to be into it at the end of it.
Definitely.
I think the just obviously mentioning Twitter there, that's where I discovered you guys, and that was from somebody that I was friends with on Twitter, or whatever you want to follow each other, whatever. And I think sometimes now we're all kind of aware of what Twitter is getting like. It's a shame, really, because there's these bands that are coming out now that won't get that traction like you guys did back in the day. Since Elon Musk has taken over Twitter and changed its name and rebranded it seems to be going more, it's just a political platform or whatever. It's a shame. It's a shame, really, because like I say, back in the day when I discovered, I think it might have even been lockdown when I discovered you guys. It was from a friend on Twitter, and I've done that with other bands as well, and that's a great platform, and social media is a great platform for doing that. So it is a shame, but yeah. Okay, then we touched on the songwriting process just a little bit before. You obviously mentioned Ben that you're obviously the singer. Are you the lyricist as well then?
On quite a bit of the stuff, but we do, like last week went down to Alex's house and we'll do a bit of lyric writing and just sort of we're working on a few new songs, and we'll play around with ideas and message each other different ideas for lyrics and things like that. So sometimes it can be soul on your own, but then other times it can be completely shared with all of us. So it depends. I mean, there's like my style sometimes can be a little bit how can you put it, sort of painting quite a dark picture of life and maybe of things, but then Alex's writer's probably got more of a sunny disposition, whereas because you look on Strange Times, he's singing about better days. So that's his song, singing about better days, whereas mine might be like I'm incomplete or things like that, and looking at, but it all works because it counterbalances out and makes the whole record sort
of. Okay. Would you agree with that, Alex?
Yeah. No, I would do. Yeah. We're coming at it from probably two different angles, but I can't do what Ben does, and I love his style. Do you know what I mean? So we're chalk and cheese probably. But we can also collaborate pretty well. There are things where Ben's helped me maybe finish a line off in a song and vice versa. So, we work together pretty good despite being Yeah, I mean, Ben isn't miserable anyway. He might pretend to be, but he's not.
He certainly doesn't. He doesn't come across that way after talking for
Well,
15
good,
minutes.
good.
No. I
So,
just like writing. I just like writing in that certain way that I don't think you should write in the middle ground. I quite, if I was to watch something late at night, I want it to be quite extreme and in a certain place. If it's going to be, dark, I want it to be dark. So sometimes you will alter your lyrics and words to paint that type of picture rather than, keep it in the middle ground, if you like, sort of thing.
And then, so in terms of, I suppose this is quite a difficult question for you, Ben, but any influences as songwriters in the past? Are you influenced by, I don't know, like the likes of Bowie or those type of people, or?
Yeah, I mean, all of those. I love all of those. Probably the main ones would be Radiohead, Tom York. As a sort of musician, probably. Maybe not so much as a songwriter. Damon Albarn, I like as a songwriter a lot. And you can probably hear bits of both of those in our music somewhere. Mm-hmm. But I also like writers like Neil Young, going back, that type of thing. I don't think there's particularly one, but like Alex was saying before, always like to try and find a melody, if anything, And I'm not too sure where that sort of comes from. Maybe it's our generation, I'm not sure, but we had quite a lot of melody around us growing up with the bands, in the 90s and things like that. So it could be from that.
Just like, so, but something that you mentioned before, Ben, you mentioned the band Doves, and that now you've mentioned that, it's like a penny's dropped in my head as well, because I think you sound like Doves, like the music. You guys sound like Doves, and Doves are by far the Doves are the first band I ever saw live.
Wow.
15 or something, they were supporting Travis. I was blown away by them, and then I've been a fan from them ever since. But I can see that, I can hear that in you guys and them, like kind of together. Not on every kind of song or every record, but it feels like it's the connection, or there's a little bit of a connection there. But
definitely,
just a pointer, that sort of thing.
Yeah, we went to go and see them together, didn't we, Alex? In
early 2000s. Yeah. Yeah, I love
that. It was the last broadcast album, I think.
Yeah,
very good.
That's a massive album for me, actually. I think it's one of the best. One of my favourite, probably top 10 albums. Last broadcast. I mean, M62 song, which is kind of almost like it's not a big one off of that, but. I just love that. Always have done. There's something about it. There's a mood in that particular song that I feel like I always come back to that. Actually, that one song just conjures up some kind of atmosphere that I think, like, if we can achieve anything like that in our music, then that's a good thing. Do you know what I mean?
No, I mean, they're good influence to have, Doves, without a doubt. Okay, so. Obviously, this whole podcast and the books and stuff, it was about vinyl records originally. So, in terms of vinyl records and vinyl pressings, how easy is it for bands like yourselves to get your music onto vinyl? And I mean, I'm not talking just the cost. I'm talking getting it in the record pressing plants, and because historically we know that artists like Ed Sheeran and Taylor Swift and Adele have clogged up the record plants, as everybody says. But how easy is it for bands your size to do that, to get records out?
We're lucky, I suppose. We found a guy that we trust and we know now, and bless him, he's even got an interesting name. Daddy. we only know him as Daddy Bones,
right?
And Daddy Bones looks after us on the vinyl. We've done 3 albums with him now, and probably an EP. But he's a real character, and he's just really easy to work with. And the process of getting the music for vinyl, I think we've learned a little bit each album we make, trying to get the sound better, better clarity, all of that kind of stuff. But bands can anybody can get vinyl made these days if you've got patience and you've got a bit of money behind you. If you've got a fan base to help kind of crowdfund it, because they're not cheap to put out, so you do need that following to kind of do pre-orders, which is what we do to try and get enough money together to help with it. So it's it is achievable for any band if they really want to do it, and it's always a bit of a dream when you get that thing back in your hands, and it never loses the wow factor. Getting a finished album in your hands for the first time is always a very cool thing.
I mean, that's it. Obviously, Al, you said you were a record collector, and you'll kind of get that wow factor when you're out shopping for records or digging for records, and you find a record that you really want. And there's no better buzz in my opinion. But I'm saying that with 4,000 records behind me. So so just onto the keeping on the theme of vinyl. Then who does your artwork? Because it's all. I think the artwork's something that's very catchy in terms of it catches your eye all the time. I think on your records, have you got one person that does it, or have you gone to other people? Or
I suppose I'm kind of responsible for the graphic design.
Okay,
that's what I do as my day job,
mm-hmm.
And that's something I enjoy doing just as much as making the music. They go hand in hand.
Mm.
As a vinyl sort of guy, you'll know how important a record sleeve is.
Yeah.
And I've been collecting records since I was 8, down Woolworths with my pocket money. The format of the 7-inch and the 12-inch artwork to me is kind of, it's just massive.
Yeah.
It means a lot. Every record, you look at the sleeve notes, you open it up, it smells a certain way, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? So, I take a lot of enjoyment in designing these things. That's where it comes from. One of them was it What If, which was the third album. That was actually I've had this picture on my wall. My grandfather, he passed away, but before he did, he said, "You can take any picture off my wall." And I took the cover of What If off of his wall.
Right.
And I thought I'm gonna use that one day. I wanted to credit the artist because it was given to him as a present by one of his students in the 70s, but I couldn't trace the person. I tried, but couldn't trace them. So that one, I didn't do the artwork, but I knew it. Just that picture seemed to fit the vibe of the album.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably when you talk about making vinyl and getting vinyl done, that's probably our secret weapon, is that, we have someone that is in-house basically that sees the artwork through and also you've got to get it all right, I suppose, down, when you're designing the actual vinyl down the sleeve and the sleeve notes. And that's Alex's job in a way with other projects, isn't it? Aside from music. So that's where we are very fortunate, because I'm trying to put myself in another band's shoes and I'm thinking that is difficult. When I was in my band before, artwork was, it's a problem really. But I think Alex used to do it even then. So
I've been doing it a long time now. But love it.
All right, cool. Good. So then just going to talk about you guys playing live. Is that something that you're able to do, get out and play gigs or do sort of small tours and things like that?
We play local gigs because we can afford to.
Yeah.
Probably like a lot of bands now who are putting, they're independent. Going on a tour is very expensive. Especially if, like us, are a bit older now, we don't all want to be in like a white van smelling each other for 2 weeks. We have played, we've gone up to Liverpool and Manchester, but we just look at them as like jollies because they cost us a fortune. Do you know what I mean? We don't make our money back, but we've had amazing times, amazing memories, and met some lovely people. Do you know what I mean? I'd love to tour. I'd tour anywhere, everywhere, but it's just the practicalities and the the money side of it. However, if we were able to just make that little jump up and break through to a slightly bigger audience, then we'd have enough money in the kitty to do this sort of stuff. So when people say, "Oh, when you come to Sheffield or when you come into Newcastle," it's like, well, we'd love to come, like to go everywhere, but we just need that little bit of a boost. And a lot of the times, to be honest with you, making new music and putting out physical product and stuff like that is kind of almost more important to us than stopping for a year and a half and spending all that money on kind of like so yeah, it's a bit of a shame, really. We would love to play more often or to certainly go and visit people. We've never played Scotland and would love to do that. And we were invited to play New York like last year, but we didn't have the money. Which is a shame. I mean, that's absolute bucket list stuff, just to go, if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, if I played New York the day before, that'd be good.
So just going away from talking about the band a little bit and talking about music in general, then obviously, every year I say that there's great records being produced and putting out and things like that. Do you have any kind of like current bands or artists coming through, or any favourites really recently that you've been listening to?
I saw there's a couple of young bands. One that we played with in Brighton called the Kairos, who are doing well.
Yeah.
And nice lads as well. And another band that caught my attention just through hearing a little snippet of theirs was a band called Quayside.
Okay.
Which is sort of classic Liverpool melodic sounding band, but everyone's got the same tools to write songs. But if there's hundreds of songs, thousands of songs being written each day. But if one can sort of prick your ears, then it must have something. And they wrote a song recently that just sort of straight away I can tell that it's a very, very good song. So I'll keep an eye out for them. And I sort of sent them a message saying how much I liked it and things like that. But there's tons on Twitter. A few years ago we all got quite a big boost from the actor Robert Carlyle when he got involved a lot more and used to do like a weekly sort of list of his favourite songs that had come out, and that was a massive boost. But like you were saying before, Twitter has taken a bit of a turn now, and it's hard to sort of keep that community all together. It's become quite, sort of separated, if you like. So, which is a shame.
Yeah. What about yourself, Alex?
I think Liverpool's always like inspiring. So there's a band called Sunstack Jones. I don't know if you've heard of them.
No, I haven't.
They're worth looking up. Sunstack Jones. And Paul Malloy, who's from the Coral. He's just put out a new album that's reminds me of the Bugsy Malone soundtrack, which is kind of one of my favourite soundtracks. I love that, and I just quite like the way he's done something that, a little passion project that. I just thought that was really cool. I went to End of the Road Festival. Don't know if you heard of that.
I was there.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
So the band, a few bands there. Flaming Gods, I thought were great.
Okay.
The Big Special.
Yeah.
I thought they were amazing. I was just on the edge of their mosh pit. Was rather terrifying. I thought I was going to get my head kicked in, but it was all right. Who else did I see there? There was a band called Lip Critic, and they were on late. They do those sort of like secret gigs where they don't announce who's going to turn up, and they're kind of like just after midnight. Well, I think they're an American band, really young, but they were kind of mixing sort of really heavy hard rock with sort of like really, really big dance beats. I suppose the closest thing I could like them to would be maybe the Prodigy, but they weren't quite. But their live show, just to be a part of it, like in a tent of like a couple of thousand people. Yeah, it really just blew my head off.
Yeah, yeah.
Not really my cup of tea usually, I can take it or leave it, but to see that in the flesh and see the energy sort of between them and the crowd really was like one of the most impressive things I've seen in ages. Yeah. So, and and I've started listening to them, and I'm actually quite, it's pretty heavy stuff, but I'm enjoying it. So yeah, they're good. Lip Critic. Brilliant.
I'll give them a listen as well. Yeah, I really, it's the first time I've ever been to Edinburgh Road Festival. And we, I went with my dad and we loved it. Really great, great festival. I kind of keep thinking now at the moment, it's the shoegaze sounds coming back quite heavily. Who did I see? King Hannah, they played, and that's kind of.
Oh, yeah. No, I saw them. I bet we were in the same tent.
Yeah. We probably were. We were probably watching fans all weekend. But yeah, that kind of sound seems to be quite prevalent at the moment. And then obviously, Slow Dive played and they've come back. So
yeah, I was there. I saw Slow Dive.
Yeah, we were seeing Richard Hawley on the other stage. So
okay,
I've seen Slow Dive twice this year already, so I kind of
right.
My dad dragged me to see Richard Hawley. He didn't drag me.
I don't suppose can you swear on your program?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Did you see the Shits?
Did see the Shits? Yes.
What do you think of them?
Interesting.
Yeah.
That way.
I love the fact that the front man was confrontational. I've not seen that in so long. And, and they opened the festival, didn't they? It's like 12 o'clock lunchtime. And he's just, I thought he was great.
It was.
Was he a bit shitty?
Was he what?
Was he a bit shitty?
A bit shitty, yeah.
I think, but I don't think they would take that as like, they'd probably be pleased. Yeah, they were horrible, but I thought they were horrible in a good way.
Yeah. Okay, we are running out of time, so I'll just kind of ask that then. What's the kind of plans for the future of the band then in the next sort of coming months to year? Have you got anything kind of lined up?
Well, we're writing new music, so we're always writing anyway. But we're sort of getting stuck into that at the moment, and we're practicing as well for live. So, but yeah, basically we're just carrying on and more writing music and looking to have a few gigs hopefully.
Okay, great.
But yeah, I think the new stuff is. I'm always excited about new material, but I think the new batch of stuff we've got coming up is I think the best yet, and I'm excited about getting those out there eventually and people hearing them because I think it's going to be good.
Great stuff. All right. Well, thank you both for coming on the podcast. It's been great to chat to you about the band and about music in general, and obviously about vinyl as well. So. It's been lovely to chat, and I'll keep saying this now. The Moonlight Parade, everybody give them a follow and a share on social media. And as the lad said, if you want to see them live, we need to get them to the next level. So let's do that as best we can. So great. All right. Well, thanks for chatting music, guys. I'll catch up with you soon.
Pleasure, mate. Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Cheers.
No problem at all. Thanks for coming on.